Cuidaram muito bem.
They took really good care of me.
Do jeito que eles fizeram pra mim, do jeito que eles me deixaram com o meu contrato, eu deixei eles à vontade de fazer o que eles quisessem.
The way that they gave me this last contract was so good that I let it open for them to do whatever they want.
Não importa.
I could see it on your face.
Pode ver no seu rosto.
How many fights?
Quantas lutas?
8 lutas.
8 fights.
Alex Pereira just signed an 8-fight deal, and honestly, I'm worried. If the history of UFC stars signing big contracts this late into their career is anything to go by, I'd be a little cautious. Obviously, we don't know the full contract, but I'm sure it's an overall good one. I'd go as far to even say it's probably the best contract any fighter has signed up to this point. And honestly, good, as he should. He's a multi-defending and multi-divisional champ. He's a star providing viral moments in the cage and even made history by going for a 3rd belt. He practically saved UFC 300 by headlining it and saved the entirety of UFC in the year 2024 with his activity and saving events in what was a pretty lackluster and honestly boring year for the UFC. My concerns come from his age and the history of contracts like this made for stars so late into their career. We have seen this many times with fighters complaining about their contracts and not being able to fight outside of the promotion. All the way since the early days of the UFC, we have seen fighters like Randy Couture, when a Donald Trump-funded and tap-out clothing rival MMA promotion, Affliction MMA, promoted the super fight of Randy Couture versus Fedor Emelianenko. An absolute super fight. Of course, this fight never happened, but they promoted the shit out of it, making ads and posters. And Affliction did really try to make this fight, but the UFC didn't want to deal with another promotion, and the whole fight just fell out. This is also one of the reasons why Randy Couture left the UFC, citing his frustration over fighter pay and the desire to pursue other super fights that couldn't happen inside of the UFC. We've seen this play out with Francis Ngannou. Now, some may say that he actually was the asshole Dana was saying this entire time after fleecing the PFL.
And I told the 2 guys who asked me not to cut Francis, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. I didn't like Francis as a person. Wasn't a guy I wanted to do business with. My boys were telling me he's misunderstood. And I told them, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. Francis isn't a good guy. He plays the good guy. I don't understand the language, and, so he seems like he's a nice guy. He's not. And he's just not a guy that I wanted to be in business with.
Who, immediately after his contract expired, went over to Jake Paul's promotion, MVP, and is now the co-main event for Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano on Netflix. Honestly, I'm in the middle here. Filthy fence sitter over here, I know, but that's not what we're talking about today. We saw Francis talk about UFC management and how he wanted to pursue other opportunities. And we just recently saw Jon Jones and Dana White beefing since the announcement that Jon Jones wasn't going to be in the White House card, which has Jon asking the UFC to let him go from his contract. Mind you, Jon Jones signed an 8-fight deal all the way in 2023. He has only fought twice. He still has 6 fights left. He retired, of course, and we all know the can of worms that had, but overall, I'm sure the UFC was fine with him retiring. I don't imagine his contract ends for years because of the amount of fights he has left and the activity of Jon Jones. Jon Jones has been begging on Twitter for the UFC to release him, and the UFC are not going to let Jon Jones go. I'm pretty sure they're afraid that MVP could snatch up Jon Jones and probably have him fight Ngannou. I'm positive other promotions, whether it be boxing or MMA, would jump at the chance to get Jon Jones. The UFC are stingy as hell, and they're stingy as hell even more with their fighters. They're never going to let any of their golden gooses leave if they have anything to say about it. Now look, I'm sure the UFC has been really good to Alex because Alex Pereira has done good to the UFC. He has the money, and if he wants to stay in the UFC and actually fight out his contract or even just retire after a couple of fights and not pursue anything after the UFC, then that's up to him. He will already go down as one of the most legendary fighters of all time, and he's earned that right. But almost every single UFC fighter who retires always comes back for at least one more fight. The UFC will scratch your back if you scratch theirs. But the second you need them to do you a favor and you don't give them anything in return, they will leave you with an itchy ass back.
No say in what happens.
You have no say. Hunter Campbell, who is like the UFC lawyer, he kind of just tells you what direction they're going to go, and it's either you take it or leave it. So you don't really get a choice what you want to do.
They just leave you.
They just leave you. They ice you. They won't give you fights. They'll just let you sit out there. They'll say, hey, you turn down this fight. Now you're not going to fight for the year. You're not going to make money. They'll freeze you out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Also, if Alex Pereira wins the heavyweight belt, the heavyweight Dana White curse will probably rear its ugly head no matter what. Even if it's Dana's closeted lover and someone who Dana will defend to death, Dana will somehow butt heads with his heavyweight champion every single goddamn time. I just question what's going through Pereira's head and his manager especially. What's up with MMA managers lately? I'm sure most of them are good people, but managers themselves can be questionable if they're looking out for the interests of the fighter, the UFC, or themselves. For example, Abraham Kawa is friends with Dana White. He also manages Ilia Topuria and John Jones and Yair Rodriguez, which is probably the reason why they keep shoving Yair down our throats and still have him ranked despite all of his inactivity. I'm aware UFC managers aren't really known to the public as much as their fighters or hell, even coaches. We only know a fair couple of them really. There's only about 2 or 3 maybe that are actually known. Tiki Gozin is one of them, which you probably know from the infamous clip of him elbowing Dean the Great on a kick stream a couple of weeks back.
You definitely know me.
Nice to meet you, though.
Yeah, I don't be lying because girls around and shit. You definitely know me, bro.
Bro,
Not even on some disrespectful shit, but
don't like your attitude. Don't like your fucking tone.
I don't like you at all.
This was the entire thing goes.
Straight up. Yeah. Straight up.
What?
I said straight up.
Are you the guy that got slapped on video?
I did, but I'll slap the shit out you though.
Oh, you were?
I'm going to show you the inside of the house.
I'll make you another clip. Don't do that.
Seriously?
Don't do that.
Whoa.
Alright. Come on, cuz.
But apart from that clip, Tiki is mostly known for his overall scummy nature and beef with Sean Strickland over some crazy allegations about Tiki grooming some girls at the gym.
And there's a guy that heard the conversation. He says, "You think that's bad? Let me tell you what he did with this guy's daughter, who I've known for years." And I'm like, "Oh shit, tell me." So he tells me. So I reach out to the father of the girl. The girl is married, great life, has kids. And I say, "Hey." So he gets back to me and he called his daughter. And his daughter, I guess, was pretty emotional about the whole thing. And she said that we 100% support you. And, he said there are levels to it that she couldn't even talk about because it was that traumatizing to her. So, this is what I know. Do I know if it's true? No. I know that I don't work with this guy. I know that I see this guy everywhere. I see him at events. I see him front row to fights. I see this man shaking hands everywhere. And I know this about him. Do I know if it's true? No. But I've heard it from credible sources, from the father. The girl would come forward. She's married, has a great life, and it's very painful for her. So it's, it's going to be hard going to court, but she's willing to do it.
Ali Abdelaziz is probably the most commonly known one. He's a manager for a lot of big fighters such as Kamaru Usman, Kayla Harrison, Khabib, Islam, and Goliath. Ali's also known for talking a lot of shit on social media about other fighters and using his own fighter socials.
He calls himself the king of Twitter. I want to read some of his main tweets to you and I want to get your reaction. Your daddy is next. Alex Bumtree. Take a seat. Terrible fight.
I don't even know what that means. Like, the grammar's not even correct. How he can be the king of the Twitter if his tweets writing somebody else? Get a different translator. ChatGPT, or just speak your native language and let somebody else translate it. This doesn't work for you. Stop it. Don't show me that. All of that is bullshit. Many days back when I was in PI, he went there around me and he said hello. I said hi. So then I understand he's just a kid. Somebody else writing the tweets, so he's not responsible for that. I can't be angry for that to him.
Ali Abdelaziz single-handedly made the entire fan base go against Ankalaev, when in all honesty, Big Ank seems like a chill dude, apart from him beating Alex Pereira in the first fight, but Alex got his lick back and Ali lost his mind, so yeah!
Let's go! Yeah!
Anyways, let's not forget the legendary moment from Conor McGregor talking about Ali Abdelaziz.
And that's putting it for the media. That's the friendly way of putting it. His manager is a fucking snitch, terrorist, rat. And that's it. I could go into heavy detail, and I will. And I will go into heavy detail. He was pulled off of a flight going from Cairo, Egypt, to New York City on September 11, 2001. He was caught with 5 passports in his possession. He turned informant and turned on the people that he was working with. He is I don't even know how that man is in this country.
Which turns out to be, from everything I can research, true. Oh my god. He was even let go from the informant program because the FBI suspected that Ali was a double agent, allegedly. He's not even allowed to leave the country.
You know what I was going to ask about that? Why wasn't that guy in attendance in London, James? Could you tell me why?
I think if you do a little bit of digging, I don't believe he's allowed to leave the U.S., so.
Really? Why is he not allowed to leave the U.S.?
I think he might have had a checkered past, so to speak, to put it lightly. You can Google's your friend. There's a few things online about some of the activity that he's been involved with. But you're right. That's why he wasn't in Abu Dhabi. It's wasn't why he was in London as well. So I think you know the same stuff I do.
Wow, that's interesting, James. Ali Abdelaziz is not allowed in the country. Hey, wow, man. Fans, do your research. What type of person that guy is?
My
Again, I don't want to come off as someone who's saying all managers are bad or anything. I'm sure they are trying to do the best they can for their fighters and themselves, and in a fair level. Again, I get it. I get it. The manager needs to get their bag too, and I think negotiating with the UFC is its own fucking thing. But we had fighters like John Jones, Nate Diaz, Ronda Rousey, Gina Carano, McGregor, all wanting to fight this year, and we got none.
And I was like, wait a second. This timeline is very, very interesting. December of 2024, last pay-per-view, 2025. Wait a second. Do you remember that press conference in Tampa at the very end of the year, December of 2024, when Dana White dropped a hint and a tease of what was to come next year, something that we could have never imagined that came out of the blue? Do you guys remember this? In case you forgot, take a listen.
I anticipate a lot of big fights. I got something in the works right now. I'll drive you fuckers crazy. All you guys will be running around. I got something in the works that you will never fucking see coming for 2025. That literally started to come together last night, and yeah, we got some fun stuff coming up.
We finally got the answer to that mystery. We finally figured it out. It was that fight. It was Ronda versus Gina. That was the one.
Ariel Helwani, who is a little controversial, but is probably one of the best sources in the MMA space, said that it looked like it was supposed to be Gina Carano versus Ronda Rousey. But the UFC fumbled that. And by what Ronda Rousey has been tweeting, it looks like Ronda felt insulted. Of course, Ronda gets insulted at everything, but this is the UFC matchmaking we're talking about here. It also looks like Nate Diaz and the UFC were working something out. Seems probably like a Nate McGregor trilogy. He turned it down, and honestly, I don't blame him. It's probably a multi-fight deal where it could only exclusively be in the UFC. Why do that when he could just go to Netflix, make more money for one fight, and still have his freedom? At a certain point too, money isn't the only concern. It's the freedom to take fights and go where one wants. I hope I was able to describe why I feel a bit worried for Alex's new deal. Again, more power to him. Alex is one of my favorite fighters, and I can't wait for what the future brings. I don't think he'll actually fight off his entire contract at his age, and most likely retire after a couple of fights, but I really do hope that the moment when he decides to retire, he is truly out of the sport. It's true, he could make a lot more money fighting in boxing, but again, sometimes it's more than that, and if it really is for that reason, then I hope he can really just have his walk off into the sunset ending. Anyways, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about Alex's new contract? What do you guys think the UFC would do with John Jones's contract? What vague tweets that lead to nothing will Ali Abdelaziz tweet next? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like the video, and don't forget to hit subscribe on your way out. I'll see you filthy casuals in the next one. Peace!
And so what do? They wait until the end and beg for mercy. But I got to tell you, the UFC is just not a place that you can count on to be merciful at the end of your career, especially if they just don't feel like doing it. There was a better way to do this. There was something that could have been done. Oh, I would have risked giving up all those millions. Well, then don't complain now. If you don't want to do the work that's required to make a difference, you cannot complain on the back end when you are the victim of the lack of work you never did. This is the reality of modern mixed martial arts. The fighters all think they're going to podcast and Twitter post their way into getting an improved situation.